No, I named the characters after all the members of my family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My mom is Margaret. There's Marge Simpson. Uh-huh. I have a younger sister, Lisa, younger sister, Maggie. There's no Bart.
One episode was so controversial, Fox executives refused to air it, nearly banning it from television forever. And that's just the beginning of the bizarre secrets hiding behind America's longest-running sitcom. For over 35 years, The Simpsons has been predicting the future, breaking animation rules, and somehow surviving cancellation attempts that should have killed it in Season 1. What started as crude sketches drawn in 15 minutes became a cultural juggernaut that's outlasted empires, presidents, and pretty much every other show that's ever existed. Today, we're counting down 15 insane facts about The Simpsons that'll change how you watch Springfield's most dysfunctional family. From mathematical equations hidden in the background to the real house they built and immediately regretted. But before Homer says his next "doh," smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the shows that defined multiple generations. Drop a comment with your favorite Simpsons quote because we're genuinely curious which lines stuck with you. All right, let's head to Springfield for number 15. Number 15. Matt Groening created The Simpsons in 15 minutes. Most shows take months of development and careful planning. The Simpsons, 15 minutes of panic sketching in a producer's lobby. Matt Groening was creating Life in Hell, his underground comic about depressed rabbits. Producer James L. Brooks wanted to turn those characters into animated shorts for the Tracey Ullman Show. Groening showed up ready to discuss contracts, then had a horrible realization in the waiting room. If he signed over Life in Hell, he'd lose control of his creation forever. So he made a desperate decision. He'd pitch something completely new, invented on the spot. He grabbed whatever paper he had and frantically sketched a family. He needed names fast, so he used his own family. Homer was his father. Margaret became Marge. Lisa and Maggie were his sisters. Bart was the only exception, an anagram of brat. The drawings were crude, barely recognizable as the characters we know now. But Groening walked into that meeting, pitched a family he'd invented 15 minutes earlier, and Brooks loved it. Those sketches became animated shorts on Tracey Ullman starting in 1987. They were weird, barely animated, working with almost no budget. But audiences responded. Fox saw potential, and by 1989, The Simpsons got a primetime slot. A billion-dollar empire, 36 seasons, over 750 episodes, a feature film, theme park attractions, and merchandise worth more than several small nations. All because Matt Groening panicked in a lobby and started drawing his family as cartoon characters with overbites. Number 14. The voice actor's record, separately and never together. Most animated shows record, with the full cast gathered around microphones, playing off each other's energy, laughing between takes. That ensemble chemistry makes performances feel alive. The Simpsons doesn't do that. Every voice actor records alone in a soundproof booth with just the director and engineers. Dan Castellaneta voices Homer in complete isolation. Julie Kavner records Marge by herself. Nancy Cartwright does Bart with nobody else in the room. They never hear each other's performances until the episode is assembled. This isn't artistic choice, it's purely logistical. The Simpsons has run for decades with a massive voice cast who have conflicting schedules and outside projects. Recording separately means they can book actors whenever available, swap performances if needed, and maintain production speed. But there's a cost. Chemistry suffers. Timing gets harder. When Homer and Marge have an emotional scene, Dan and Julie aren't feeding off each other's energy. They're performing to silence, imagining what the other character might sound like, hoping editors make it work. Occasionally, they'll bring two actors in when a scene absolutely demands interaction, but it's rare. Most of the time, Castellaneta voices Homer, Grandpa, Krusty, Barney, and a dozen others completely solo, doing conversations with himself. The show does hold table reads where the full cast gathers to read scripts, interact, and pitch jokes. But when it's time to actually record, they're back in isolation. The fact that The Simpsons still feels like characters actually talking to each other, despite nobody being in the same room, is a testament to world-class voice acting and editing. Most viewers have no idea Homer and Bart have never actually had a real conversation. Number 13. Bart was supposed to be the main character. In the early 1990s, Bart Simpson was everywhere. T-shirts saying "underachiever" and "proud of it" got banned from schools. "Don't have a cow, man" was printed on everything. Bart was the face of the show, Fox's rebel mascot. That made sense, because Bart was supposed to be the main character. The original concept centered on a troublemaking kid navigating school and suburban America. Homer was just the dad, a background character grounding Bart's stories. Season 1 reflected this. Episodes focused on Bart's schemes, conflicts with Principal Skinner, and his relationship with Lisa. Homer was supporting cast, basically a generic sitcom dad who occasionally got mad. But something shifted around Season 2, and definitely by Season 3. The writers discovered Homer was way more interesting. An adult man-child with the emotional intelligence of a golden retriever, but the responsibilities of a functioning adult created endless possibilities. Homer could have midlife crises, workplace disasters, marriage problems, existential breakdowns. Bart could basically just get in trouble at school. The show organically recentered itself. Homer became the emotional core driving most episodes. Bart stayed important, but slid into supporting. By the golden era of seasons 3 through 8, Homer was undeniably the main character. This shift saved The Simpsons from becoming dated. A show about a rebellious kid would have aged terribly. What's rebellious changes every decade, but Homer's stupidity is timeless. A middle-aged man failing upward never goes out of style. By the mid-90s, Homer was the face of the franchise. Bart's still there, still important, but everyone knows whose show this really is. Number 12. The show predicted the future dozens of times. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, The Simpsons predicted Trump's presidency in 2000. Yes, they showed smartwatches in 1995. Yes, they depicted Disney buying Fox years early. And yes, the internet loses its mind every time another prediction comes true. But here's the thing. The Simpsons isn't psychic. It's been on air for over 35 years, with more than 750 episodes. When you throw that many jokes at the wall for that long, some accidentally become reality. The Trump presidency prediction came from a 2000 episode where Lisa mentions inheriting a budget crisis from President Trump. In 2000, Trump had flirted with running multiple times and was already a tabloid fixture with political ambitions. The writers weren't seeing the future. They were joking about an egomaniacal celebrity wanting power. It just happened to actually happen 16 years later. The smartwatch prediction appeared in 1995, but Dick Tracy had watch communicators in the 1940s. The idea wasn't new. The Simpsons just showed it close enough to actual development that it looks prophetic. Disney buying Fox was mentioned in 1998 on a sign reading 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company. At the time, it was absurd. But Disney acquired Fox's entertainment assets in 2019, making the joke retroactively creepy. Here's what makes these predictions possible. The Simpsons writers' room is famously overeducated. Multiple staff members have PhDs from Harvard, Princeton, and elite schools. They're mathematicians, scientists, people who think deeply about society. Their future jokes are educated guesses based on current trends. Also, the law of large numbers applies. With 750-plus episodes, they've made thousands of predictions. Most are wrong and forgotten. The handful that come true get amplified until the show seems like a prophetic oracle. Number 11. Conan O'Brien wrote some of the best episodes ever. Before Conan O'Brien became a late-night legend, he was grinding in the Simpsons writers' room during seasons 3 and 4, widely considered the show's absolute peak. Conan wrote several episodes that regularly top best-of-all-time lists. Marge versus the Monorail is perhaps the most beloved. A con man voiced by Phil Hartman, a musical number parodying The Music Man, Homer as monorail conductor, and jokes that land perfectly on every level, from visual gags to sophisticated satire. He also wrote Homer Goes to College, where Homer attends university to keep his nuclear plant job. It's packed with nerds, pranks, and Homer's complete inability to understand academic life. The episode works as both college movie parody and character study. Conan's Harvard Lampoon background taught him structure, callbacks, and layered jokes that reveal new details on rewatch. His episodes aged incredibly well because they're character-driven with timeless humor, not topical references. The writer's room was legendary. Along with Conan, you had Greg Daniels, who later created The Office and Parks and Recreation, Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein, who became showrunners. An assembly of people who defined television comedy for decades. Conan left in 1993 for Saturday Night Live, then got the late-night gig. But his Simpsons episodes remain some of his finest work. Tighter and weirder than most late-night material because animation gave him unlimited freedom. Number 10. There's a real Simpsons house and nobody wanted it. In 1997, Fox and Pepsi ran a contest with a prize so ambitious it sounds fake. They built an actual replica of the Simpsons house in Henderson, Nevada, complete with every detail. The Aztec theater room, orange couch, Bart's treehouse, even pink donut-patterned walls. The winner would get keys to a $120,000 custom home that looked exactly like 742 Evergreen Terrace. The construction was insane. Designers had to translate cartoon logic into livable architecture, which is harder than it sounds. The show's house has rooms that shouldn't geometrically fit together and dimensions that make no sense, but they committed. They built Marge's kitchen with magenta walls and bizarre layout. They recreated Homer and Marge's bedroom down to the sailboat painting. The contest winner was announced with huge fanfare. A woman from Kentucky won and flew to Nevada to see her prize. Fox expected tears of joy, excitement, media coverage of a superfan getting their dream home. Instead, she took the cash option. Fox had offered $75,000 as an alternative, and the winner looked at this cartoon house in the middle of Nevada and said, "No thanks." Can you blame her? Moving to Henderson to live in a cartoon set piece isn't practical. The resale value would be a nightmare. Fox was stuck with a fully built Simpsons house nobody wanted. They tried selling it, but the market for homes decorated like a 1990s animated sitcom was limited. Who wants clouds painted on bedroom walls? Eventually, they gutted the interior, repainted everything to normal colors, and sold it as a regular house. Somewhere in Henderson, there's a house that used to be an exact Simpsons replica, and current owners probably have no idea. Number 9. Homer's voice physically damaged Dan Castellaneta. Dan Castellaneta has voiced Homer Simpson for over 35 years, and that decision has done permanent damage to his throat. Homer's voice is based on Walter Matthau, that gravelly, strained quality that sounds like a man who's been yelling for decades. To create that sound, Castellaneta has to strain his vocal cords in ways they're not meant to be used. Now, multiply that by hundreds of episodes. thousands of lines, decades of screaming "Doe" at maximum volume. Recording sessions where Homer has emotional breakdowns, gets angry, shouts at his kids, or has extended rants about donuts. Castellaneta's throat has taken an absolute beating. He's admitted in interviews that he has to do extensive vocal warm-ups before recording sessions. He can't just walk into the booth and start talking like Homer. His voice needs preparation, specific exercises to avoid further damage, and careful monitoring to make sure he doesn't blow out his cords completely. And Homer isn't his only character. Castellaneta also voices Grandpa Simpson, Krusty the Clown, Barney, Groundskeeper Willie, Mayor Quimby, and dozens of others. Each one requires a different vocal technique, different strain on his throat. On any given recording day, he might cycle through 10 different voices, each one demanding something different from his vocal cords. The show has made Dan Castellaneta wealthy and famous, but it's also cost him his natural voice. Number 8. The show almost got canceled after Season 1. The Simpsons is now the longest-running American sitcom in television history. But after Season 1, Fox executives seriously considered pulling the plug. The animation was rough, the tone inconsistent, and several episodes were borderline unwatchable. The production process was a disaster. Animation was done overseas by studios that had never worked on American television. Quality control was non-existent. Scenes came back with characters off-model, timing that didn't match voice tracks, and backgrounds that looked like they were drawn by people who'd never seen American suburbs. The Season 1 finale, Some Enchanted Evening, was supposed to be the show's big statement piece. Instead, when animation came back, it was so bad they couldn't air it. They had to completely redo the entire episode, delaying it and burning through budget they didn't have. Critics were mixed. Some appreciated the satirical edge, but others thought it was crude, ugly, trying too hard. Ratings were okay, but not spectacular. Fox's gamble on primetime animation looked like it might not pay off. But Season 2 changed everything. Animation improved dramatically. Writers found the show's voice, balancing heart with satire. Episodes like Bart the Daredevil and Dead Pudding Society showed what The Simpsons could be. Homer became more than a generic sitcom dad. The supporting cast felt like a real community. By Season 3, the show was a cultural phenomenon. Bart Mania was everywhere. Merchandise dominated, and Fox realized they had something special. The same executives who'd considered canceling it were now building their network around it. 36 seasons later, The Simpsons has outlasted almost everything. But it nearly died after one season. Sometimes survival is just making it to Season 2. Number 7. The show invented words that entered the dictionary. The Simpsons hasn't just influenced television. It's literally changed the English language. Multiple words that originated as throwaway jokes in the writer's room are now officially recognized in dictionaries. The most famous is "doe." Homer's exclamation of frustration has been in the Oxford English Dictionary since 2001. It's listed as an interjection expressing annoyance at one's own stupidity or misfortune. The Simpsons didn't invent the sound, but they made it a recognizable word with specific meaning. Then there's meh. The expression of indifference became widespread after The Simpsons used it repeatedly. While there's debate about whether the show truly originated it, they definitely popularized it to the point where Merriam-Webster added it in 2008. But the best examples are embiggen and cromulent, two completely made-up words from a 1996 episode. In Lisa the Iconoclast, a teacher mentions that a noble spirit embiggens the smallest man, and another character responds that embiggen is a perfectly cromulent word. Both words are nonsense, invented by the writers specifically to sound like real words while meaning nothing. Except now, they kind of are real words. Embiggen has been used in academic papers, scientific journals, and even Marvel Comics. It means to make it bigger or more powerful. Cromulent means acceptable or adequate. They started as jokes about how people pretend to understand words they don't actually know. And now they're legitimate vocabulary. The writers love linguistic humor. They're constantly playing with language, creating phrases that sound official but are completely absurd. Sometimes those phrases escape the show and enter common usage. Number 6. Michael Jackson secretly voiced a character. In 1991, The Simpsons aired Stark Raving Dad, an episode where Homer ends up in a mental institution and meets a large white man who thinks he's Michael Jackson. The character talks like Jackson, acts like Jackson, and even writes a birthday song for Lisa that sounds suspiciously like something Jackson would create. That's because it was Michael Jackson. The biggest pop star on the planet secretly voiced Leon Kompowski, credited under the pseudonym John J. Smith. Jackson was a massive Simpsons fan and called the producers asking to be on the show. They wrote an entire episode around him. But there was a problem. Jackson's record contract prevented him from recording music for other companies without permission. So while Jackson voiced all of Leon's dialogue, he legally couldn't sing the Happy Birthday Lisa song he'd written for the episode. They had to bring in a sound-alike Kip Lennon to perform the musical moments while Jackson did the speaking parts. The episode was huge. It became one of the highest-rated Simpsons episodes ever. And fans loved the weirdness of Homer befriending a Michael Jackson impersonator who might actually be Michael Jackson. The ambiguity was perfect. For decades, Stark Raving Dad was considered one of the show's best celebrity appearances. But then 2019 happened. After the Leaving Neverland documentary reignited serious allegations against Jackson, the show's producers decided to pull the episode from circulation completely. It's effectively been erased from the show's official canon. This created a weird situation where one of the most famous Simpsons episodes now exists in a strange limbo. You can't watch it legally, but everyone knows about it. It's become a lost episode, which ironically makes it more infamous than it would be if it were still available. Number 5. Springfield's location is deliberately impossible to determine. Every Simpsons fan has tried figuring out which state Springfield is in, and every fan has failed. That's because Matt Groening designed it to be unsolvable. The show deliberately drops contradictory clues. Springfield has bordered Vermont, Ohio, Nevada, Maine, and Kentucky in different episodes. That's geographically impossible, but the writers don't care. They're actively messing with anyone trying to map it. When The Simpsons movie came out in 2007, a scene showed Springfield's location on a map with 4 states touching its borders. But the moment the camera gets close enough to read which states, someone's thumb conveniently blocks the names. The writers knew exactly what they were doing. In 2012, Groening finally revealed Springfield was in Oregon, his home state. Fans celebrated having an answer. Except the show immediately contradicted this in subsequent episodes. It was never meant to be taken seriously. The name Springfield was chosen because it's one of the most common city names in America. Almost every state has one. It's intentionally generic, the least specific name possible. The brilliance is that it makes Springfield universal. It's not a real place, so it can be every place. Viewers from Ohio can imagine it's their Springfield. People in Massachusetts can claim it. The show belongs to everyone because it's nowhere specific. The mystery is better than any answer. By keeping it ambiguous, Springfield exists in a fictional space everyone can claim. It's a running joke that's lasted 35 years and will never be resolved. Number 4. steamed hams became one of the internet's biggest memes. In 1996, The Simpsons aired 22 short films about Springfield, an anthology episode with vignettes about Springfield residents. One segment, under 4 minutes, featured Principal Skinner inviting Superintendent Chalmers for lunch. Skinner burns the food, panics, buys fast food, and tries passing it off as his own cooking while his kitchen catches fire behind him. The segment is called Steamed Hams, named after Skinner's absurd claim that he calls hamburgers steamed hams, despite nobody ever using that term. The whole scene is awkward, absurdist, perfectly capturing Skinner's desperate need to appear competent while everything falls apart. For 20 years, this was just another Simpsons scene. Then, around 2016, the internet discovered it and lost its collective mind. Suddenly, steamed hams became a massive meme phenomenon. Thousands of variations, remixes, and edits flooded YouTube. People recreated it in different art styles, languages, genres, versions done as horror films, anime, 8-bit video games, Renaissance paintings. Someone made a version that's just the word steamed, repeated for 4 minutes. The dialogue became endlessly quotable. The Aurora Borealis exchange became a phrase for describing increasingly absurd situations. The writers had no idea this would happen. It was just a weird sketch about Skinner being incompetent. But something about the awkward pacing, ridiculous excuses, and Chalmers' deadpan reactions worked perfectly in meme format. Now, Steamed Hams is arguably more famous than entire seasons. The internet recognized its brilliance 2 decades late. Number 3. The writers hide real math and science in episodes. The Simpsons is packed with legitimate mathematical equations, scientific theories, and academic jokes that only a tiny fraction of the audience would ever understand. And the writers put them there anyway. This happens because The Simpsons writers' room is genuinely one of the most overeducated in television history. David X. Cohen has a Ph.D. in computer science. Ken Keeler has a Ph.D. in applied mathematics. Jeff Westbrook earned his Ph.D. in computer science from Princeton. These aren't just comedy writers who happen to be smart. They're legitimate academics who chose comedy careers. In The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer writes an equation on a chalkboard that almost disproves Fermat's last theorem, one of mathematics' most famous unsolved problems for over 350 years. The equation would actually work as a counterexample, except the numbers are so massive that calculators round them off, making it appear correct when it's actually false by a minuscule amount. This joke exists for maybe 5 seconds of screen time. Most viewers don't even notice there's an equation. The tiny percentage who do probably don't understand higher mathematics enough to realize what they're looking at. But the writers put it there because they thought it was funny. The Treehouse of Horror 6 segment, where Homer enters the third dimension, contains real mathematical references. A baseball episode featured sabermetrics years before Moneyball made it mainstream. There's even a book called The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets by Simon Singh, cataloging all the hidden math. It's a full-length book about mathematics in a cartoon sitcom. The beautiful part is these jokes don't alienate regular viewers. If you don't notice the math, episodes still work. But if you catch them, there's an entire additional layer. The Simpsons is simultaneously a show for everyone and a show for people with advanced degrees. Not many programs can pull that off. Number 2. Fox almost banned an episode for being too controversial. Fox has tried to censor The Simpsons multiple times over its 35-year run, but one episode in particular almost got permanently banned before it even aired. Homer's Phobia, from 1997, featured John Waters voicing John, a flamboyant antique dealer who becomes Homer's friend until Homer discovers he's gay and panics about his influence on Bart. The episode is about Homer's homophobia and eventual realization that his prejudice is stupid. Fox executives in 1997 thought this was too controversial. They initially refused to air it. The subject matter made them nervous. The jokes pushed boundaries, and they worried about backlash. An entire episode about homosexuality felt too risky. The show's producers fought back hard. They argued the episode promoted tolerance and that Homer was clearly the butt of the joke, not gay people. Eventually, Fox caved and aired it. The episode won an Emmy for Outstanding Animated Program and is now considered one of the series' best. The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson from 1997 featured extensive World Trade Center shots. After September 11, 2001, the episode was pulled from syndication and didn't return for years. Some versions had WTC scenes edited out. We already covered Stark Raving Dad getting erased completely after Michael Jackson allegations resurfaced. But the episodes Fox almost banned that really tested boundaries? Multiple episodes where The Simpsons mocked Fox itself. The network hated being satirized on their own channel. Episodes mocking Fox executives, Fox News, and Rupert Murdoch personally made executives furious. Number 1. The opening sequence changes constantly for a brilliant reason. Everyone knows The Simpsons opening. Homer screams at work, Marge drives past, Lisa plays saxophone, Bart skateboards from detention, and the family rushes to the couch. It's one of the most recognizable sequences in television history. What most people don't realize is that it changes constantly. The chalkboard gag where Bart writes lines has been different in nearly every episode. Over 700 unique variations exist. The couch gag has over 600 different versions, ranging from 3 seconds to nearly 3 minutes. Some couch gags are simple. The family sits. Something mildly weird happens. The episode starts. Others are elaborate productions. Banksy directed one showing a grim animation sweatshop. Guillermo del Toro created a nightmarish horror version. Don Hertzfeldt made a dystopian future version that's genuinely unsettling. But here's the genius part most viewers never consider. The opening sequence is a timing tool. Simpsons episodes need to fit exact runtime slots with commercials. Sometimes an episode runs short, sometimes long. Instead of cutting jokes or adding filler scenes, they just adjust the opening. Episode runs long, use a 3-second couch gag where they sit, and that's it. Episode runs short, use a 2-minute elaborate couch gag with guest animators and extended sequences. It's a flexible buffer allowing precise runtime control while appearing to be creative variation. The opening has become an art form. Some couch gags are better than entire episodes. The show uses this 90-second window to experiment with animation styles, bring in guest directors, and create standalone comedy. And there you have it. 15 bizarre facts about The Simpsons that prove this show is even stranger behind the scenes than it is on screen. So which fact shocked you the most? Did you know about the Michael Jackson episode getting banned? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us your favorite Simpsons episode while you're at it. Hit that like button if this brought back memories of watching Sunday night Fox lineups, and subscribe for more deep dives into the shows that raised multiple generations.